Before cell phones with digital grocery lists, some people would tie a stringer on their finger to remind them to do things, like picking up that carton of milk on your way home from work. Well, I've tied this string around my finger to remind you that with our hot summer weather also comes flash flood season. Hello, I'm Betty Hollister, Public Information Manager with the Regional Flood Control District, and welcome to another edition of the Flood Channel. Let's see what other reminders we have coming up for you on today's show.
Hi, I'm Carrie Ann Mokopathai. Flash flood season is July through September, which could mean potentially dangerous storms in the forecast. I'll bring you to the district's annual news conference to kick off flash flood season and to explain why summer storms can be so dangerous. Plus, I'll show you why it's important to conserve, reuse, and recycle, and some environmental do's and don'ts. Then we'll take a fun behind-the-scenes look at our latest public service announcement with Las Vegas entertainer Terry Fator.
All that and our flood facts coming up on today's Reminding You edition of the Flood Channel. Welcome back to the Flood Channel. I've tied this string to remind you that flash flood season is here. Let's go to Carrie Ann with a story about our Flash Flood Safety News Conference and the groundbreaking of a new $23 million flood control project in the northwest part of the valley.
The desert we live in is an environment of extremes, and in the hot summer months, moist, unstable air from the Gulf of Mexico is rapidly forced upward by hot air currents. This can cause spectacular displays of lightning, heavy rains, and flash flooding, sometimes called monsoonal flows. Today's news conference kicks off flash flood season and reminds us all to be aware of these potentially dangerous storms. It also showcased 2 new detention basins being built adjacent to Floydland Park at Tule Springs.
We're here to get the information out to everybody, all the residents and new residents to Southern Nevada about the dangers of flash floods. Every year we come out and we have a big press conference to kick off flash flood season. It's important that people make smart decisions. Flash floods can happen in an instant.
You know, the district and throughout its history has been so successful in creating the infrastructure. We have 83 detention basins, 550 miles of channels that have been built over the last 25 years at a cost of $1.6 billion. And yet, the more successful we are, the less people hear about us. And the question is, why? Well, the infrastructure, like any puzzle, has to be put together. And it is. It's a long term. We still have a good 25, 30 years to go.
Well, this is an important news conference. We're out here at Floydland Park at Tule Springs, and we're celebrating basically the progress that we've made as far as the flood district providing protection for our community. And today we're going to be dedicating a whole new project which will not only create a detention center, but also will be part of a trails program, which is great for our constituents. So it's a big deal. It accomplishes a lot of things with one stroke.
Flash floods are one of our bigger killers here in the desert southwest of the United States, and here in Las Vegas during July and August, those are our primary months to get flash flooding and the dangers inherent with that. The difference between a flash flood watch and a flash flood warning is merely that a watch means that conditions are ripe for the development of flash flooding, and a warning means that one is imminent and that you should take the necessary precautions to protect yourself.
During flash flood season, that safety message becomes critically important, especially for those that are not familiar with the desert Southwest. So we take the opportunity to raise that awareness with our partners in the media and getting that message out that flash floods are part of Mother Nature you don't want to fool around with.
Right now there are 16 projects under construction and 2 projects out to bid. That amounts to $150 million of local investment. Those 18 projects will employ 2,000 people at a time when jobs are critical to our community.
The $150 million of under construction, we estimate it's going to employ 2,000 people. It's either going to new jobs or sustain the jobs that are there. We're looking at another $75 million bond issue at the end of this year, December timeframe, and that will employ about another 1,000 people. So while we're building projects to protect life and property in this tough economic times, we're also keeping people employed.
Well, we're building 2 more detention basins out here, which an integral part of the already huge infrastructure we have for flood control out here throughout the valley, but here specifically in the northwest part of the valley. We're at Floyd Lamb Tule Springs, of course, and I have fond memories as a child coming out here with my parents. It used to be out of town, and now it's down the street. But this, of course, is a great asset to the city of Las Vegas and all the people who live in southern Nevada. This component, however, is special because not only are they 2 flood detention basins, but we're going to enhance those detention basins with some pedestrian and equestrian trails. We've got picnic tables, we've got shade structures, so we have infrastructure and we're putting taxpayer money to good use by making it part of the amenities of this park. So it's a good combination of both things.
One of the successes of the Regional Flood Control District are the member agencies. The partnership we have with Clark County, the City of Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Henderson, the ability to reach out to our member agencies and eliminate jurisdictional lines as we build this flood control infrastructure to protect lives and property. We need that buy-in, and those member agencies are the reason why the Regional Flood Control District has been so successful. It's great to be a part of it. It's regionalization and consolidation of public services at its best. Great savings to the taxpayer, and it's a model that has worked extremely well in southern Nevada.
I'm actually very blessed that the mayor appointed me to the Regional Flood Control District because I've been impacted by this in my role as a city councilman for so many years. It was a perfect fit. So I have a great deal of concern about what happens out here in the Northwest, certainly what happens with flooding issues. As you know, we've got a wonderful campaign of flood awareness that it makes everybody in all of Clark County fully aware of what's happening if it floods. And that's quite significant too, so it gives me that level of personal accomplishment, I guess.
So you're driving along and all of a sudden the sky turns dark and those raindrops start to fall. Here's some flood safety reminders to keep you safe this flash flood season. Stay informed. When a major storm hits the county, listen to the radio and watch TV for flood and emergency information. Know the difference between flood watch and flood warning. Watch comes first and means it might flood. A warning means a flood already happened or is imminent. Don't drive through floodwaters. Turn around, don't drown. Just a few inches of flowing water can wash a car off the road. Don't play in floodwaters. Not only can people be swept away by fast-moving floodwater, the water is filled with pollutants and other contaminants like oil, glass, rocks, and nails. Stay inside. If you're driving, pull over to higher ground and wait out the storm. If you're at home, stay there. Use common sense. Floodwaters are responsible for more deaths than any other natural disaster. That's why we want you to be prepared if a severe storm hits. Today's news conference is another example of the district's proactive approach to keeping you and your family safe during flash flood season. Betty?
Thanks, Carrie Ann, and we'll be back with more on the Flood Channel right after this.
Hi, hon. How was your day?
I was good. Nothing special. How about you?
Good. Productive.
Good.
Oh, I bought us flood insurance today.
You did what? What do you think we're made of money? I mean, what the heck? Should I just go out and buy a boat and maybe an SUV to pull it around? Oh, okay.
In Clark County, floods can strike at any time, and not just in flood zones. Flooding can cost thousands of dollars in damage, destroying your home and its contents. Do you have flood insurance?
Don't press your luck. Steer clear of floodwater.
I'm Mike Studmeyer with the National Weather Service in Las Vegas, and you're watching the Flood Channel.
How does the district work with other agencies to promote flood safety?
The district's rain gauge network provides real-time information to other organizations like Public Works and emergency responders to pinpoint severe storms occurring in the county. We also work closely with the National Weather Service. In fact, this year we partnered with them on a new public service announcement. You'll hear more about that later in the show. Welcome back to the Flood Channel. I've tied this string to remind me that we all have a responsibility to help protect the environment. Reduce, reuse, and recycle are actions we can all do at home and also at work so that future generations have the same natural resources we do. I have a special trash can in my kitchen that I use for things that can be recycled. When it gets full, I just take it out to the garage and put it in the recycle bin. Let's go to Carrie Ann for more tips about recycling.
Thanks, Buddy. Did you know that Americans throw away an amazing 2.5 million plastic bottles every hour? And no matter where those bottles end up, whether it's a landfill, the desert, or one of our storm drains, they never biodegrade. So 2 problems. One is desert dumping. The other is the fact that people aren't recycling things like this water bottle. I'm here at Republic Services to remind you why it's important to be a responsible steward of your air, land, and water.
Well, it's important to recycle because, we have a responsibility in this life to, pass on a good world to the next generation. And I think that's the most important thing. And when you can reuse resources, why wouldn't you? All people have to do is load their bulky items that they want to get rid of, a mattress or old furniture, put it in their pickup truck, bring their current bill down, bring their driver's license, and we accept it free of charge. At the landfill and all 3 transfer stations, our transfer stations are located in Henderson at 650 Cape Horn. They're located at the Sloan exit off of Interstate 15, and at Cheyenne transfer station is at 315 West Cheyenne.
I don't remember how we learned about it, but it could have been on a public service announcement or something where they were saying don't dump things down the sewer or down in the street because it ends up in your water supply. It's been several years we've known this, and so we knew there was some sort of outlet for doing this, and we were lucky to find it. The things we found that we needed to get rid of were old paint cans that had probably been there for years. We also had a fairly large container of used peanut oil from a Thanksgiving many years ago. Had to get rid of that as well.
TVs were designated as a hazardous waste a number of years ago, and that's because of the lead that's on the back of the front of the screen. So we're allowed to take them into our landfill because the Apex Regional Landfill has a liner, and so there's no worry about contamination to the groundwater supply. We have to be careful with hazardous waste. That's why the county and the cities made the provision for us to have a household hazardous waste place that people could drop off the pesticides and used motor oils and other contaminated liquids. And people need to realize that it's our environment. They have to be responsible for it. We all have to be responsible for it because the only people we're leaving it to are our children.
It's disappointing that people would go ahead and dump things into the sewer and down the drain that would affect our water supply when it's just so much easier to bring it here, and it's free, and they take care of it for us.
And it's amazing, why people take this material, this landscaping material, mattresses, out to the desert is beyond me. I mean, if they're residents, we collect almost everything at the curb. If they do have bulky items, all they have to do is bring their bill and their driver's license and go to any one of our 3 transfer stations and they can dump it free of charge. If you do see someone dumping illegally in the desert, you should try and get their license number, and then you can call the Southern Nevada Health District and report it. And there's actually a $100 reward after they go through the process of getting the perpetrator. And now the Howard Hughes Corporation actually adds another $100 reward for that. So somebody can get $200 if they report illegal dumping.
Here's some recycling do's and don'ts. Republic Services. Check out their website to ensure that you're doing your part and doing it right. Pay attention to what is acceptable and check the recycling rules. Keep it clean. Rinsing cans and keeping boxes out of the weather makes them easier to process and helps to keep costs down. Recycle electronics. Recycle your old computers and cell phones. Check out various websites for information on how you can recycle these items. Do not recycle hazardous materials. Household hazardous waste like paint, motor oil, antifreeze, car batteries, pesticides, and pool chemicals usually need to be disposed of separately. Again, check Republic Services for guidelines. Do not dump in the desert. This is a big problem and we need your help. If you see illegal dumping, please report it to the Southern Nevada Health District at 759-1000. Together we can keep our desert home clean. When people don't dispose of their trash properly, it pollutes the environment. We have a detention basin being built at Tropicana and Decatur, and because some people use this vacant land as a dumping ground, the Sierra Club had to spend their Earth Day helping clean up the trash. Their goal was to recycle as much as possible.
This is a wonderful parcel right here in the middle of the urban area. We're at the corner of Tropicana and Decatur. It's right on the Flamingo Wash, which is one of the main wash systems that leads through this entire part of the Mojave Desert. It goes down into the Las Vegas Wash and eventually hits Lake Mead, the Colorado River. So it's part of our major water system of the region. People have been using this vacant lot to dump on. Construction companies dump here. People just bring their stuff out in their trucks and dump in here. Even though we have no fees for people to drop off trash at the local landfill, they use our open space for this kind of horrible activity.
We've done cleanups really all over the valley. The majority of them, we'll have to admit, are sort of in the parks. The state parks, Red Rock. There's lots of other washes. We just did one in the North Las Vegas Wash, the Truly Springs. But this is the first one sort of really here, what I call sort of in the heart of the city. I mean, we're just 2 miles away from the Strip. We're providing the volunteers with gloves, with little grippers to grab things out of the bushes that are thorns and stuff in case some of the things are less sanitary. We've got first aid available, water available. It is a nice, warm, hot day here.
Well, one of our goals is to recycle absolutely everything we possibly can. And Republic Services is one of our most enthusiastic partners to do this. They're going to bring all sorts of bins for us to use during this event today. And everything that we can recycle is going to go in the recycle bins. There's water heaters, there's brand new implements that people just throw out because they decide they don't want them anymore. There's mattresses, there's mattress springs, there's containers, there's old tools that are broken. I picked up an iron wrench, which of course is about 2 pounds of recyclable iron right there. There's all kinds of things that we're finding here.
This site has, this wash going right through it, and we wanted to, sort of make people more aware that, when you dump this type of trash in this area, it's really affecting themselves. Because, this wash is tied right into a whole canal and wash system going throughout the city, heading all the way to Lake Mead, which is our drinking water, our bathing water.
Taking care of our planet is one of the things that the Sierra Club has had as it's one of its top 3 goals. Explore, enjoy, and protect the planet. And the planet includes every kind of environmental habitat, ecosystem that we can possibly imagine. Here in the desert is incredibly fragile. If we damage an area, it may take 200 years for it to come back. It breaks my heart that we don't have a greater value of the place that we live in. What we're looking at here are some of the last natural dunes that are still existing in the whole of the Las Vegas Valley. And when County Parks and Rec scoped this out for a soccer field, a park, they decided that these dune areas are going to remain as dune areas, which we're really excited about. The Las Vegas buckwheat is in a family of plants, the buckwheat plants, that the native peoples, the Paiutes and the Shoshones, used as a food source when they lived here and they lived off the land. Having the Las Vegas buckwheat still survive in this urban environment, to me, is a miracle of the persistence of life.
I don't want this stuff in my drinking water. I do enjoy the lake. I love going out there and wave running and boating with friends, swimming in the lake. And the idea that I'm swimming with this stuff really kind of disturbs me.
There's no reason why things need to be dumped here. We have such an excellent process here in Clark County. We can take our materials to the Republic Services site in North Las Vegas and leave it there. We can take it to the landfill and not be charged for taking our trucks from our homes to the landfill to dump there.
Well, there are a couple websites. Of course, there's the sierraclub.org, and specifically for this and the Las Vegas Earth Day, we've started a new one, earthdaylv.com. There's information about this cleanup. People can go there. We're going to have video and photos after this cleanup, and that's going to be a website we're really looking for in the future to expand all the knowledge of what's going on in Earth Day around here.
So we're going to clean it up. Hopefully it'll stay cleaned up. We'll have some soccer fields here in a part of the area, and this whole area will be such a gift to the people who live here in the Las Vegas Valley.
Construction is set to begin in the fall. When finished, this will be one of the biggest parks in the neighborhood. The county says it'll be a welcome change from the vacant lot it is now.
This is called the Lower Flamingo Detention Basin. It's approximately an area of about 25 acres, and it's going to be about 20 feet deep when it's all said and done. This wash actually goes all the way up Tropicana towards area, goes underneath the Orleans, it goes by the Rio, it goes underneath Caesars, and it eventually gets into the Las Vegas Wash down by Desert Rose Golf Course. What we require is that any ball fields be above the 25-year flood level. So therefore the fields will be above a 25-year storm, and all of the other park amenities, the play structures, the restrooms, the parking lots, all those would be above the 100-year water surface elevation. So it is a tiered detention basin, and then the park will have amenities on both sides of the detention basin. We do that because the detention basins are dry 90% of the time throughout the year. So we might as well use them as joint use and take availability of the land. I mean, it creates a good opportunity to have people use this area and also let them know what flood protection there is.
If you're not already recycling, why not start now? You can call the Republic Services to get those recycling bins. And if you see a storm drain that's clogged with trash, call the district to report it.
Thanks, Carrie Ann. Another great tip, use canvas bags for grocery shopping instead of plastic. Come by the Flood Control District and we'll give you some of ours to start your path to a greener future. I keep mine in the car so that I never forget them.
I'm Agent Smith.
And I'm Agent Jones.
And we're busting people who pollute Clark County.
Hey, who are you guys?
Sir, please step back.
Hey, what are you doing?
Aha! Judged by your reaction, you don't like trash.
No.
Sir, this is yours. We saw you dump it out of your car.
Well, I was...
Sir, did you know trash can clog storm drains, cause flooding, and pollute Lake Mead?
Sir, is Clark County your home?
Well, yeah.
And you don't like trash in your home?
No.
Then why would you dump trash in Clark County? Don't trash Clark County. It's our home, too.
Hi, I'm Bob Coyle with Republic Services, and you're watching the Flood Channel.
Don't press your luck. Steer clear of floodwater.
Welcome back to the Flood Channel. I've tied this string to remind you about flood safety. Comedy is a great way to get across a very serious point. We try to use humor where we can to grab your attention and hopefully help you remember our message. Let's take a behind-the-scenes look at the making of our latest public service announcement. Carrie Ann, take us backstage.
Thanks, Betty. Ventriloquist celebrity impressionist Terry Fator has a cast of characters to entertain you. And for our PSA, his friend Vicky helped him spice up the message, turn around, don't drown. Let's take a behind-the-scenes look.
Well, I was ecstatic when they called me and asked me to work. So was I. Yeah, she was excited too. And it was mainly because I've lived in Dallas, Texas, pretty much my entire life. And flooding was always a major problem there. And I realized in, I believe it was 2003, I was in Vegas just vacationing, and there was a major flood. And I mean, it was really a serious problem. So when they called me, I jumped at the chance to do this. It's amazing to me that people continue to take chances and continue to drive in water. I mean, you think to yourself, I'm going to save 5 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever, but you may actually end up either killing yourself or delaying yourself several hours while you're waiting for someone to rescue you. So it's much, much better to find another route. And I've heard this my whole life because, again, being from Texas, flooding was a major problem. And I learned as a teenager, if you see water, don't drive in it. I've been wishing I could do something like this. I've been an entertainer since I was 10 years old. And anytime I saw something on the local television where they were encouraging somebody to do something, I would think, why don't they ask me? I wish they would. And so now that they're doing it, it's really cool, right? Well, in 2007, I went on a show called America's Got Talent. And during the course of being on the show, they asked me what I hoped came from my appearance on America's Got Talent. And I said, I want to be a headliner in Las Vegas. And so to be able to be here and be a part of something that I've been dreaming about since I was about 15 years old is phenomenal.
I had one instructor that called it edutaining. And people will retain more out of humor than if they're just told a message over and over and over again. If you give it with a funny twist or a funny clip of some words and things like that, something that really sinks in their mind, they remember, and hopefully when they're pulling up to a Soak Road, they're going to have the funny thoughts going to come in their head, and then it's a serious thing, and it'll give them the presence of mind to turn around, stop, whatever they're going to do.
So how do you feel about being a part of the flood safety organization? Oh, I'm so excited, and nobody's better than me because I'm the best at mouth to mouth.
Okay, get ready, let's go, and 3, 2, 1.
You know, living in the desert, you may not realize it, but 6 inches of water can knock you off your feet. I can knock you off your feet too, honey.
Terry's heart's really big. He wants to give to just about everybody that comes, and that asks. And unfortunately, sometimes we have to kind of pull back, but we're helping everyone we can.
You know, living in the desert, you may not realize it, but 6 inches of water can knock you off your feet. I can knock you off your feet too, honey. And 18 inches of water can make a car float. You don't need root beer and an ice cream to... That it?
You did it. Let me just double check that.
I do take Terry. Hi, I'm Terry Fator. You know, living in the desert, you may not realize it, but 6 inches of water can knock you off your feet. I can knock you off your feet too, honey. And 18 inches of water can make a car float. You don't need root beer and ice cream to make a car float? This is serious, Vicky. It's flash flood season and people need to know the facts. The fact is, you can have a lot of fun in a car, but don't be stupid. Turn around, don't drown.
The National Weather Service and the Regional Flood Control District remind you to stay safe this flash flood season.
Over the past several years, the district has produced commercials that creatively talk about flood insurance, flood safety, and protecting the environment. And while a lot of those commercials have won awards, our biggest prize is knowing you remember to steer clear of floodwater.
And that's going to do it for this edition of the Flood Channel. One final reminder, log on to our website at regionalflood.org with your questions and comments. For all of us here at the Flood Channel, I'm Betty Hollister, and remember to always be flood safe. Hey guys, can anyone help me take these ribbons off? I want to take Austin for a walk. Want to go for a walk?